Namaste, everyone. I hope you're doing so well. I just wanted to drop in with a quick energy update as we have this full moon happening in Vedic Sagittarius, happening tomorrow on July 10th at about 4:35 Eastern Daylight Time. So if you are interested in learning more about this full moon, how it will affect you and the collective, as well as some other key transits happening in this moment in time, stay tuned. Yeah, welcome back to my channel, you guys. Hanukkah Healing. I have been on a bit of a hiatus. I haven't really been in a space to be online so much and recording tons of videos, but nonetheless, I felt intuitively called to drop in and share a little bit about the transits that are taking place right now, because there is just so much happening in the sky. So it's July 9th as I'm recording this, and I will be speaking about the upcoming full moon tomorrow in this video. However, I just wanted to set the stage, kind of like in the Bhagavad Gita, like the first chapters, just setting the stage. What's the scene that's going on right now in the sky? So there is a lot happening. The first transit I want to mention is that today, as I'm recording this video, Jupiter is no longer combust, which is really, really good news. Jupiter is Guru. Jupiter is guidance, both the guidance that we give, but also the guidance we receive, our teachers, and our ability to connect with our own intuition and our own inner guidance. And whenever Jupiter is combust the sun, this can mean it's more difficult to access our own intuition, but even to have access to our gurus and teachers, to have access to therapy, to have access to someone who is guiding us, to really know which way to go. It can be a time of being a little bit more lost. Maybe you haven't felt able to really make a decision in your life in one direction or the other. You've been torn between a few different things. You've been listless, you've been drifting, and that is because perhaps this inner guidance hasn't been as accessible. However, I would say these Jupiter combust times can be really potent. They can be like a way for us to assess, okay, how much am I really in touch with my own intuition and my own inner guidance? And how much can I really tap into that as opposed to relying on external sources of guidance and validation in my own life? So with Jupiter no longer being combust, we are going to have more access to guidance and intuition, but also we should have more clarity and we should have more confidence internally. Because ultimately, why access to wisdom is so important is it gives us deeper self-trust. It lets us know our own dharma, our own focus, our own path, our own purpose. It's very expansive for the soul. And so, yeah, this is really, really positive that we have this full moon happening right off the back of Jupiter no longer being combust. This is really, really good. Also, what's happening in the sky right now is that there has been this conjunction since June 6th of Ketu and Mars in the sign of Leo. Now, this is a highly, I would even say dangerous, intense, explosive conjunction. Mars is the planet of war. It's also a planet of virility, of strength, of vim and vigor, of courage, of power, of action, of doing. It's really like intense, fiery energy, and it's in a fire sign. It's in Leo. So that in and of itself is a lot. It's a lot to feel in the collective. There would already be, for a lot of you, activations in whatever area Leo falls in your chart. Now, Ketu is actually said, according to Shastra, to act like Mars. It has some energy of Mars, and that's because Ketu is the tail of the cosmic serpent, and Ketu acts in a way that isn't necessarily intellectual. It isn't very practical. It can really act on impulse when it's not in balance. Ketu still has a lot of really nice qualities when it's more in balance, but when it's out of balance, it can really be reactive as a planet and so can Mars. And so when you bring fire to fire, essentially you're just going to get explosive energy. And I think we've been seeing this. We've been seeing this in the news in so many facets. Like, oh yeah, it's an intense time on planet Earth. That's one of the reasons why I've personally been taking more of a step back myself. It's because, yeah, it's been intense. It's been a lot to feel. It's been a lot to move through. So we still have this extreme, intense energy that is happening in the sky, and that's going to be happening until the 28th of this month. So we still have about 18, 19 days of this energy. So it's just a really good time in general to tread lightly, to not make any rash decisions, to be spacious, to take those deep breaths, to take those moments of pause. If you feel something, like say you have a text you want to send, or you're upset with someone and you want to tell them what you think, it's just a good time to not act on impulse. Give something an hour, give something 24 hours. Really find that spaciousness. And I believe this energy is going to be supportive because it also ties in quite nicely to this full moon that we have happening as well. And why that is because this full moon is happening in sidereal Sagittarius in the Lunar Mansion of Purvashadha. Now, Purvashadha means early victory in Sanskrit. Early victory, but victory of what? The ancients would say that this is the victory of light over darkness, of good over evil, that ultimately, this is what will prevail. If we think about the sign of Sagittarius, it's number 9. It's the natural 9th house of the zodiac. And the 9th house is like the house of religion, spirituality, of pilgrimage, but it's like what happens after we've gone through the dark night of the soul, after we've gone into the underworld, when we've started to really access our shadow, when we've started to turn toward the things that we are running from, when we start to turn toward our darkness and confront these gnarly parts of ourselves, these old patterns and ways of being that might be holding us back. I've talked about this a lot on my channel. I've talked about shadow work a lot. But the whole point of doing this shadow work really is so that we can reemerge with more strength to do light work. And this is something that I've been talking to a lot of friends, clients, and people in my community about, is this importance of being a light worker. Now, not everybody is a light worker, but I imagine a lot of you who are watching this channel are light workers. And myself personally, I've always resonated in this capacity of more divine crystalline energy, but I have needed over the past few years really to do a lot of shadow work, really to take a big look at myself and reach some very, very rock bottom moments in order to reclaim who I truly am and reclaim my dharma and reclaim my purpose on this earth. And I believe it's that, having access to the shadow work, having awareness, felt awareness of these parts of ourselves that are less than ideal, or these things that we've been running from, and clearing that, allowing it, meeting those things, not needing them to be different. This could look like healing codependency, healing toxic relationship patterns, healing toxic spending patterns, healing old beliefs that we aren't enough, whatever it might be for you. Instead of running, instead of going, instead of doing, turning towards it and being willing to face it in all the distress. The ideal thing that should happen is that we don't wallow in that too long, that there is a moment we are able to step over to the other side and re-emerge and step more into our dharma, step more into our light, step more into our purpose, and really expand. And it's from that touching the darkness that we are able to equally touch as much light and then share that with others. And so the 9th house is the natural house of religion, teachers, and spirituality. And so it really is a house of deepening our dharma and purpose on this planet, for sure. And the next natural 10th house is about the hard work. It's about career. It's about arta. It's about material success. But the whole basis of that material success is 9th house, Sagittarius. It's that spiritual underpinning of all of it. And so Purvashadha signifies this eternal truth that at the end of the day, as dark as things can seem, there is a rebirth, there is a new beginning. And many in the collective are tapped into this energy that there is a lot of darkness swirling around. You know, flick on the news, it's there. It's very intense. It's hard to face. It's generally hard to face sometimes because it is so much. It can be so overwhelming, especially if you have a sensitive nervous system. But on some level, we have to see that there is another side. And the more we can lean into the darkness and the collapse, we can trust that there is a rebirth that will take place on the other side. And this is what Vedic astrology teaches us, is these final 4 houses, houses 9, 10, 11, and 12, they are the most elevated houses because we've done that shadow work that is indicated in the 8th house that enables us to really know our purpose, our true path. So this is a little bit about the energy happening in the sky right now. It's really a time of transition, a time of the dark turning into the light, of ignorance shifting into truth. But we have to be the conscious creators of that. When we see the imbalance, the pain and suffering in the world, one of my gurus, he says that this is just an external manifestation of our own darkness. Maybe a part of us that needs to be healed. Everything that happens to us in our reality is just a reflection of us. And the universe will keep showing us this again and again and again. So I invite you on this full moon to take a little bit of time for yourself and ask yourself, what is the universe trying to show me through people and situations in my life? What is this a reflection of? What is asking to be healed? What is a part of me that maybe that while it's uncomfortable, while it's something that I don't necessarily want to be with for the rest of my life, what if I can accept it, turn towards it, allow it, and make conscious shifts from that place with that guiding light? So I invite you to this practice. So yeah, let me know how you're feeling on this full moon. Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, a full moon is always going to affect us differently because we're all perfectly unique individual beings, and these transits are happening in different places in our chart, different aspects. So yeah, let me know how you're feeling. And if you ever desire to have an astrology reading with me, I invite you to do that. I'll leave a link below. And I'm wishing you so many blessings on this full moon with Jupiter so perfectly out of combustion. Hari Om Tat Sat.